several concerns and critical challenges. Now, some of the situation that has led to a severe shortage of petrol, with prices skyrocketing from 800 naira up until even 1,200 naira as it stands now. In fact, as of yesterday, we were not able to have that conversation because there was a lot. I told you there was a lot of messages via the WhatsApp portal that I didn't take, and it just tells you that Nigerians are indeed a part of the polity and that Nigerians are affected, and they're not unwilling to talk about it because they said a closed mouth is a closed destiny, right? And they also said it is also believed that we must not maintain the culture of silence, right? We must not maintain the culture of silence. We must be able to speak truth to government and bring about the change that we ought to see. Well, these prices have skyrocketed so much that even black marketers now are having a field day. They're having a field day in Nigeria, and they're having exorbitant, prices. Now, the scarcity has also resulted in long queues at filling stations, with some motorists spending hours waiting to buy fuel. Now, the situation has also attracted transportation, with fares increasing by over 100%. I mean, for some of us who still, jump buses and jump cars here and there, we know how we feel in some urban areas and urban centers in Nigeria. And it comes with quite a number of challenges, though. One of such is the shortage of petrol that it has disrupted economic activities. It has caused hardship in Nigeria. The price hike, of course, the skyrocketing prices of petrol have also increased the cost of transportation, goods and services. Then subsidy removal, the government said, we have removed subsidy, talking about what the president said at his inauguration about 1 year, last year and all of that. Yeah, where the president said, subsidy is gone. Subsidy is gone. And yes, this brought some smiles on the faces of Nigerians, as he had said that the intention for subsidy removal is for us to not go bankrupt. In fact, in something that he has in a World Economic Summit attended in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, that's what the president said, defending the subsidy removal, right? And it has led to some increase in fuel prices. And then we might also want to look at logistical challenges, where the NNPC the NNPC last week had said, it was due to logistical issues and it was just already solved. Everything was resolved. But the marketers have had, a different or a divergent view in that regard, saying that even the product in itself, in terms of metric tons that is given to them, has been reduced by half, from 10,000 metric tons to 5,000 metric tons. And that also hampers, why we're not seeing the product at this point in time. But the NNPC has also come out recently now to saying that, we acknowledge that, yes, this scarcity is there, but it's just for a few days. The last time it was about, it was done, everything was okay. And you would recall the Melikari, who is the chairman of the NNPCL, at some time in this month said that we would begin to see, our refineries come on board. And that's apart from the Dangote refinery. We would see the Port Harcourt refinery and every other modular refinery come on board, and that would ease the tension of what we feel in Nigeria today, right? So there's quite a number of issues. You might also want to consider the economic hardship. The fuel scarcity has also, and the price hike have exacerbated, economic hardship for Nigerians, and particularly the vulnerable population. And Nigerians are groaning under the heat of this development. I mean, let's look at the pricing for you as it stands right now. How did you even get here? That's the question. I mean,
yeah, it's a very funny story.
How did you get here?
It's a funny story.
Right.
Remember, I told you yesterday that I was going to confirm to you in
yes,
the night
yes.
if I would be able to make it.
And just before we get into that, the SON and the rest, they've not gotten to us. They've not contacted us. Of course, we were not expecting anything less. As yesterday we mentioned the fact that we got an adulterated diesel as at Sunday, right? And it hampered the work here. Right? To think that there is hardship, there's scarcity, an economic. I wouldn't want to use meltdown, but there's an economic crisis at the moment where the dollar to naira is fluctuating here and there from 1,700 or 800 to 1,002. At some point, it was 1,100. We were all glorifying ourselves and being so happy and dancing and everything, and saying that this would in turn reflect in the pricing for goods and services. But as it stands, we're still having fluctuations here and there, going up and going down, going up and going down. Well, back to what you're saying, I just wanted to give you a piece of information from yesterday. Yeah, that's it.
Like I said I was going to confirm to you
yes.
if I would be able to
make it this morning. And I remember screaming hallelujah to that.
So I was looking at my fear situation, but there was a miracle. One inefficiency led to my luck yesterday.
My goodness.
I think it was on the 14th of March. I went to a particular filling station to buy fuel, and I used the POS. Inadvertently, he terminated the transaction halfway. I think the session expired. But later in the night, I was debited.
Wow.
From 18th, I reported to my bank, and I have been with them, writing mail back and forth for them to do a reversal, and they keep. You could see the inefficiency, the lackadaisical attitude, unwillingness to even try to resolve issues. So finally, I said, okay, don't worry, give me a receipt that says that this transaction was successful.
Okay.
And that took another 2 weeks for them to say.
Another 2 weeks.
Yes.
That's for the banking sector now.
Then I took eventually took the receipts to these guys, and then they told me, okay, give me a few days, we'll give you your money.
Feedback, okay.
I am a regular customer.
Okay.
Okay. So for another 3 or 4 days, I didn't get my money back. So yesterday in the morning, I called the accountant and I said, oh, sorry, I thought I sent you a message to send your account number. I said, but the account statement I gave
it's there.
I'll send it anyways. So when after we spoke, I went out. On my way back home, let me go there and ask for my money.
Yeah. And
there was a long queue.
Oh, okay.
But they allowed me in through the other way because I wasn't going to buy.
Yes.
When I got there, they said, well, the accountant is not around. We can give you your money, or if you want, you can take fuel. I said,
wow, give me fuel. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine?
So that's how I got fuel.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
My vehicle got a new life. I now have a leg to go around.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's why you're here today. And I think the hallelujah actually worked. But the question would be, how many hallelujahs is working for Nigerians at this time? Do we have, us having the same story, in this regard? But I'd like to put a peg to our thoughts right now. Let's go pay some bills. We'll be right back. And then when we talk just a little bit more, then we'll open the phone lines and then hear from Nigerians. This is Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. We give you a radio experience that you can count on. Did I just say a radio experience? No, an audio-visual radio experience that you can count on anytime, any day. Catch us on social media, YouTube, as well as Facebook at Eagles FM Abuja. Don't go away.
Eagles 102.3 at 102.3.
All right, thank you for staying with us. This is Eagles 102.3 FM's Eagles Morning Rise. And yes, the segment, of course, is Eagles Outlook. It is our political and current affairs prog show on this dial, on this platform that allows for us to talk politics and current affairs as we know how to. And of course, to lend our voices to ensuring that these voices become spares, becomes message, becomes the change or the turnaround, the tool for which we can actually, hang on to the change and bring about the change. We're still talking about the fuel scarcity crisis as well as the economic stability in Nigeria. And our guest is still in the person of Mr. Agaba Wilson Agaba, and is right here in the studio. It is live. I enjoin you to get onto the YouTube channel, get onto the Facebook page wall at Eagles FM Abuja to see what's going on. And you could also join that conversation. Your comments underneath the Facebook page wall video as it stands, or television, if you like, online television, yes, would also be taken loudly and clearly, right? And please make it short and simple, go straight to the point, as well as your voice notes via the WhatsApp portal number. Please go straight to the point, make it short and simple, and when you put a call through, just go straight to the point, as there's quite a number of things to look at. Let's look at the increased cost of living. I mean, the fuel scarcity and price hike has led to a significant increase in the cost of living, and this has affected the standard of living and quality of life of Nigerians. Now, we cannot, or there's no gainsaying about the transportation challenges. I mean, in Osun State, right, Governor Adeleke had come out to giving a stern warning to marketers and saying that, look, because he suspects hoarding, and he says, if you don't release this, these are measures that I will take. Now, it brings me to the question of, to ameliorate the situation that we face, because this is fast spreading like wildfire. Every other state of Nigeria is beginning to feel the brunt of this, yeah? Although the NNPCL has also given an order saying that every product should be sent to Abuja. So if all the products are coming to Abuja, what happens to the other states? Now, the question now lies, are there any efforts that governors of each state can make to ensuring that these hardship, is not crumbling the economy of these states? Yeah?
Well, you see, I think it was yesterday when we were talking, I mentioned the system that we run, the government system. It's somewhat disjointed, and that is a big problem. It's just like you running an Eagle FM, and you have branches in the 36 states of the country.
Exactly.
Then you have a general manager who cannot or does not even have any instrument with which he can whip the managers of each station into line. So the manager of each station seems to be his own general manager,
works
chairman,
independently,
CEO, and all of that. That is how the Nigerian state run. You have a president who can command the army, who can command the police and some of the federal instruments, but he doesn't have any instrument with which he can whip a governor that is clearly misbehaving into line. He doesn't. The only instrument that is there is within the state. That's the State House of Assembly.
Yeah.
Which in itself, in the current situation, are just hallelujah boys to the governors. You don't win your seat if you are not in support of the sitting governor. If you by mistake get there, they force you out of the place or suspend you or something. So now, why I'm giving you this background is to tell you that there are fundamental reasons why things don't work. And there is no incentive for people in position to actually work. In the spirit of this constitution that we run today, every component of the state or governance is aware of its own importance, and it is bent on achieving the best with any resources it is given. That is the spirit of the constitution that established the system that we are running.
Right.
But the reality is that we have people in this position who have no interest at all in doing what is right.
No interest at all.
You understand?
No interest.
Or at least that is how it appears to me.
Okay.
Now, otherwise, jointly with the president, the governors of the 36 states and the FCT minister can make this problem go away as fast as possible. What does it take? You identify those who are responsible for the distribution of this fuel.
Yeah.
And you ask them, what are your challenges? And then you are able to separate these challenges. Which one of them I can use the state apparatus to help them ameliorate so that my people can, enjoy a little bit. And so that the economy of my state, which eventually form part of the entire country at large, will improve. You can imagine when you stay the whole day in a fuel queue, what economic activity are you carrying out there? So the country is losing by people wasting time in fuel queue. Now, but these people refuse to apply simple solutions and make it look like they are rocket science, like we are trying to navigate to Andromeda or trying to find the edge of the universe. These are simple things. You sit down, you get the stakeholder together, you ask them, let's put our people in perspective and let's ask ourselves, how can you do your business, make some reasonable profit, but yet allow the people not to suffer?
Exactly.
These are the things we are not seeing from our leaders. And it seems that from the beginning of one administration to the other, it's all about politics. Is it that you are just coming in, you're trying to fight for your second tenure, or you are about to leave, you are trying to fight for who to succeed you, or, so this whole thing has messed up the entire arena. So we're having a problem with that. It is the purposiveness, the political willingness that is lacking here. Otherwise, the governors have a lot of role to play. Let me give you instances.
All right.
If fuel is moving from one place to the other, there are roads that are considered within the jurisdiction
of the states. Yeah.
So if this state makes those roads motorable, don't you think it will aid the movement of the fuel from one place to the other? Pipelines through which they used to pump this fuel to reduce the haulage through the road and all of that, we are being destroyed. The pipeline, does it pass through any other country?
Same Nigeria.
Is there a place called federal state in Nigeria? It is the individual states plus the FCT that come together to form Nigeria. These things pass through states. What have the states done? Or what were they doing at the time to help the federal government protect its infrastructure? So all of these things were not being done. And here we are today, the pipelines are no longer viable, and then the roads are not motorable. And then if you travel across the country, you come to some places where some communities by the roadside are very hostile. They cut the road anyhow, and then when tankers fell there, they looked everything they can look, and all. So all of these things is making business difficult for the people.
Let's jump into still. I was given an outline of the concerns, the border around this. Then we'll get into the question from the place of Nigerians, themselves. Now, one of such concerns is transportation challenges, where it has been now very, very hard for people to move from one place to the other, very difficult to commute to work, to school. In fact, from what we see, resumption time now at workplaces has been changed, because people can no longer meet up with the 8 o'clock mark, which is the official, timing, even though we know that before now, even within the civil service and the public service, people could resume 10, 11, 12, whatever. But I mean, the official time is now, very hard to hold by. And then we look at the issue of food, insecurity. The scarcity as well has led to a shortage of food and other essential commodities. And that has exacerbated the food insecurity. We look at the place of health concerns. This is affected healthcare services, with some hospitals and clinics struggling to operate due to fuel shortages. I mean, especially for those who are running basically on diesel, knowing fully well that the power sector has failed them. So they just know that, hey, if we are going to be in business, then we have to be run on diesel. And of course, that also goes back to exacerbating how much Nigerians would pay to also gain the services of such hospitals. And now economic insecurity as well. The scarcity has led to job losses, economic insecurity, particularly for small scale businesses and owners and traders of organizations and small businesses and all of that, which of course it is expected that government is supposed to shield these ones and help them grow into big organizations so that they can also create employment, right, for the teeming populace of unemployed Nigerians. Then the critical issue is the place of social unrest, where the scarcity has also led to some social unrest with protests and demonstrations in some parts of the country. And there's a fear that this should not snowball into some major unrest or protest, right? Because at that point, it might now become a case of chaos, and before we know it, we start hearing about killings here and there, and this is not what we want to hear. If all of these issues are being solved, we should not get to that point. In fact, earlier on during the pages where we reviewed the newspapers, there was a question that one of us asked: how did we get here? And then finally, I'd like to get to the place of the vulnerability of the poor, where the scarcity has proportionately affected the poor and even the vulnerable population who are struggling to access basic necessities such as food, water, and healthcare. As it stands, can I even tell you that there is no fuel? There is no water? Yeah, okay, there's no fuel. There is no water because some homes depend on the diesel or fuel to pump water into their home. So there's no fuel, there's no water. Even if you're going to buy water from the Merua that we usually know, these ones too are also saying that there is no water too for themselves.
Even the Merua
they can't find
from
it.
A borehole,
But from a borehole,
they use power
to that's the thing, right? So there's no food, there's no water, there's an issue of healthcare, there's a problem of commuting, moving from one place to the other, and all of that. All of this is now becoming an issue. And there are questions about how families are coping with the increased cost of living and transportation, and how small businesses and owners and traders are affected by the scarcity and price hike. And should it continue, like Ipman had said, that look, in 2 weeks' time is when we might be able to start seeing a change. And NNPC says in few days. Now, we don't even know where to believe. Now, for you, how would you also feel, or what do you feel, about how families would be coping in a time like this? Because it's really sad. It's really sad now.
You see, the good thing is I'm from a family and I have a family.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So
awesome.
I think I am well qualified to
To
talk
give
about that.
yeah, answer, yeah, how it feels.
Families.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you that it has become increasingly difficult to have a decent meal.
A decent meal.
Decent meal for 1 week for a family of say 4, maybe father, mother, and 2 kids with 100,000 naira in a week.
With 100,000 naira in a week.
Yes, that is how bad it has become. You can't cook a decent soup with less than 15,000 as it is. Not so much soup, maybe something that the family can eat for today and tomorrow. You can't cook it for less than 15,000 naira if you want it to be decent. Okay, and if you talk about basic things like gari, all those other flours that you make into your swallows,
Yeah.
and the rest, they are up through the roof. And if you talk about things like rice, and let's not go there.
Okay.
Now, and with the fuel scarcity, even if the original cost of this product have not gone up, the transportation component has gone up.
Right.
So the point where you're buying it from, you would have to pay more.
Right.
And if you want to buy frozen meat, maybe like chicken, fish, or any of those things,
Right.
even if the importation cost or the production cost has not gone up, the cost of transportation to their various distribution and retail shop has gone up,
Yeah.
and the cost of preserving it has also gone up.
Wow.
So you can imagine when you have a freezer full of frozen chicken, are you going to, like in my area now, we have not had light for the past 36 hours.
Same.
Yes.
Same.
I
I think that's spread across Abuja now.
Okay,
as it
and I know
stands.
a guy who does frozen chicken around that
Yes.
place. He has to run his gen. And if he cannot find diesel from the filling station, he has to do everything humanly possible to get diesel at any price he wants.
By hook or by crook.
Finds,
Yeah.
yes, to run his gen in order not to lose the product.
And that would also
And
be
eventually,
in
where would the cost go?
it will come to you and I.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are the issues we are facing. And you mentioned the issue of hospitals when you were
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
There are some special hospitals that have items that should never defrost. They have things that should never defrost. So they must be running on power 24 hours, 7 days a week.
But
300
Mr. Agaba, let me ask you: should power be a luxury in Nigeria? Well, but before you give me your reply, let's go pay some bills. All right, we'll be right back. This is Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Don't go away.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Hi there! Do you want to know how to get the correct approval or documents for your land and property? Do you need the right information on how you can prevent your building from being demolished? Then tune in to Town Planning Program on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja every Thursday by 4:30 p.m.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja. Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Through our research and policy memos, we have identified the challenges facing youth civic participation. Now, it's time to equip you with the tools you need to engage with government agencies and elected leaders effectively. Are you tired of feeling sidelined in the governance process? Do you want to make a difference in your community? Don't let your voice go unheard. Tune in to Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on the Civic Martyrs and be part of the movement for a more inclusive, accountable and transparent government. Our mission is clear: to bridge the gap between citizens and government, ensuring that public resources are located to address your priorities. The Civic Martyrs is sponsored by ProMed Foundation with the support of the Nigerian Youth Futures Fund, NYFF.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
All right, you're tuning in and locked on to Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, and yes, we're still talking about fuel scarcity crisis versus economic stability. And I'd like to hand the phone lines into your eardrum so that you can also join the conversation as we have the discourse ongoing in the studio. And the number is 0907-353-0044 or 0908-766-8888, and the WhatsApp portal number is 0909-705-4450. Do well to send a message there. Do well to give us a voice note, but make it short and go straight to the point, right? I was asking you a question just before we went on that commercial, yeah? Should power in a country like Nigeria be a luxury? And you were telling me certain things off the mic, but I mean, I think it's very important for us to talk about these things, you know, as we speak to Nigerians right now.
You know, like I was telling you, the problem we have is rooted in the leadership that we have enthroned over time.
Right.
I don't think we have had the best of us as leaders. And when you put somebody in the leadership position who does not have the emotional capacity, intellectual capacity, psychological capacity, and all of that to maintain that height, what they are going to do is to adjust the system
and bring it to their own level. Yeah.
Just like when you get into your vehicle, you adjust your seat, you adjust your steering, and you adjust your side mirror to suit your height and size.
Indeed.
So this is what they have done over time. So it now looks like when you have little problems that need just common thinking, it becomes like rocket science. Because over time, we have people who have continued to destroy the system so that it will be comfortable for their own level of intelligence and capacity.
Wow.
So that is what you're seeing playing out today. Otherwise, why should power be a problem? I mean, look at the improvement in technology from hydro to wind to solar to gas.
All of them.
Even when it was coal, and we have a lot of coal deposit in Enugu and all other states. So it is not rocket science, but it's because we haven't been having the right people with the right mindset, the right competence, and the right character in the seat.
You made something about character. Let me put a peg to your thoughts. Open the phone lines now. 0907-353-0044 is that number for you to call to join the conversation. Or you can call 0908-766-8888. And the WhatsApp portal number is 0909-705-4450. What do you think about the fuel crisis that is going on in Nigeria, whereby the NNPC is saying one thing, saying, okay, finally give us a few days, as against what what they said last week when they said, okay, don't worry, we've got it all, in control. Everything is solved. Everything is resolved. Don't worry, you'll see the change. And now they said, give it a few days that all of these will pass. But the marketers are saying, or Ipman is saying that, look, it's going to take just more than a few days. It's going to take 2 weeks. And imagining 2 weeks of this scourge on us, how do we navigate? Will we survive? Well, then I'll get to the WhatsApp portal number right now and take a couple of messages from you. I see this one via the WhatsApp portal number. Okay, this one says, good morning, UD, and a very good morning to your guest. All right, it says, this is James from Suleja. It says, first things first, let's not push the narrative that the scarcity and the queues are artificially caused by marketers. This is solely the failure of the government through its NNPCL. I have stated it time and time again that the government through its agencies haven't shown any sincerity or transparency in almost all of its policies and decisions taken so far as it impacts the economy and everyone. From the CBN to the NNPCL, there hasn't been any transparency. The NNPCL is asking all products to be sent to Abuja. What happens to other states? The NNPCL admitted that there were issues, but we're quick to claim the issues have been resolved. How many NNPC stations have the products now? Why has the NNPCL suddenly reduced the volume lifted by marketers, of course, from 10,000 metric tons to 5,000 now, and the marketers already complaining. It says this same NNPC imported adulterated petrol some years ago that led to massive damages. Did anyone take responsible for that? At what point would these people in charge take responsibility for anything at all? The same NNPC who claimed it has enough products on ground started offloading cargo of products only yesterday. Well, James has got that to say, but let's get on to yet another one now. This one is coming from Abbas from Dutse. Says President Tinubu should be blamed for what its citizens are going through. President Tinubu has failed to implement the key after subsidy removal measure, which he should have used money realized from subsidy to do. Right, he says President Tinubu ought to have decentralized the supply of PMS and other products from Lagos across the 6 geopolitical zones, I want to believe. Yeah. And it says this would have created smooth distribution of products and price stability, reduce hoarding of the product. And for me, the NNPCL Group managing director or chairman has to be sacked. This man has been there since Buhari regime where he didn't get it rightly. How do we now expect him to get it rightly when this problem is still lingering on? And that is coming from Abbas from Dusay right there. What are your thoughts on these?
Well, in both of the
contributions,
made a great point. And in the studio here, we have maintained it is not just a simple logistic issue, and we shouldn't shift blame. And I think we spoke yesterday when we were speaking. I told you about the enormity of the powers of the President of the Federal Republic. Indeed. So when people say the President should, the President is responsible for it, the President is accountable for it, I don't blame them because the Constitution has given him that much power.
But wouldn't the President also say, I put people in place to handle that? I put people in place. It mustn't be everywhere.
Does the chairman not drop in on you?
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he's listening. I told you earlier that the first time I was on your show, he sent me the link.
Wow. Okay.
And I think he has done that 2 or 3 other times.
Right.
That is somebody who wants the organization to work. So you don't just delegate and go to sleep. It is the same reason some of us, even those supported the Buhari administration, also mentioned severally that he would delegate and then go to sleep. You don't expect that humans will do what you tell them to do if there is no motivation or a factor that either motivate them to do it or stop them from doing the wrong thing.
Right.
If you don't have that in place, people will not do what they should do. If there are no consequences and rewards people will not do the right thing, and people won't be afraid of doing the wrong thing.
So what then should be the consequences at this point, Nigeria, is what we are asking. What should be the consequences, that should be meted out, whether to the NNPCL or to the marketers or to the players in this regard, because this menace has to stop. I mean, we cannot be grappling with all of these issues and still be grappling with issues of having to queue, strenuously at filling stations, begging, because it seems as though every time Nigerians call, we hear we are begging the government, we're begging.
I saw the anguish on the faces of drivers, vehicle owners at the filling station yesterday, and I drove out of that place almost weeping in my mind. I saw a woman who obviously went to pick her children from the school.
Yeah.
And then the kids were in the car in this scorching sun. And she was there. She would come out of the vehicle to peep to see far in front of her if the line is moving.
Is even moving at all.
And I was wondering when she was going to go home to cook for these children, for them to do their assignments and all of that. It's terrifying when you see it out there. All right. And what we just need to do is to put the people at the center of the whole of this governance, and everything will be fine.
But are the people putting themselves at the center?
Now, you see, the governments over time seem to be more interested in the business of their friends who help them get there over the affairs of the people. The administration, the Tinubu administration removed fuel subsidy on the day of inauguration.
That's right.
You know that this was going to have impact on transport, and it's going to have impact on power. And these two things are the fundamental basis upon which all economic activities in this country are built.
Right.
And some of us say it's okay that you have removed it, but then let's quickly invest money into public transport system within big cities so that we can share rides. You imagine, instead of 100 of us driving 100 cars from Gwagwalada to the city center, 100 of us can be in one diesel-powered bus.
Right.
Or can even be in one solar-powered bus.
Yeah.
Or
Electric
even one
powered.
electric-powered
Sure.
bus that charges from a solar station somewhere. And it will reduce the demand for fuel. But the other side of it is that the man who is doing the business of fuel, who is a friend to this government, is going to lose if 100 people don't drive 100 cars every day, buying at least 10 liters of fuel per vehicle every day. So the government does try to preserve the business interests of allies, friends, and family, rather than putting the generality of the people in the center of its governance. That is what we are seeing today.
But have we not also seen situations as it stands? Because what this fuel scarcity situation is doing is that it's also unfolding new secrets. I mean, as of yesterday, on new practices, I wouldn't want to call it a secret because it's an open secret. It's something that we see every time. I mean, there's an information I gathered from my colleague where he gave me on strong authority saying that, look, for example, that the fuel has been increased now to 800 naira. There are some persons who sell 800 naira, not black markets now, filling station. Yeah. And for an 800 naira, per liter, when you take your gallon to it, when you take your gallon there, the operator, the person who, what do they call them now? Yeah, the attendant, yeah, also collects 500 naira bribe from you.
Oh yes.
Now this is it's not a secret. Like, it's something that is happening. Now we are extorting ourselves and using the situation as an excuse.
These things started from the days of fuel subsidy.
Right.
When there was subsidy and there were issues of smuggling, that people go to filling station, buy fuel in jerrycans, smuggle it to other countries to go and sell and all of that. And all this hoarding of fuel and the rest. The government at the time said, okay, you should no longer sell fuel in jerrycans. In fact, there was a point where if you need to put fuel in your generator, you have to lose the tank and take it to the filling station or bring the generator. Not everybody has a car. it is not easy for somebody to go and call a bike and say, take my generator
Right.
to the filling station to buy. So people will come with their, they want to buy. And they'll say, okay, it's against the law, you have to solve me.
That's it.
And because Nigerians don't have other options, they are forced to.
So we are the mercy.
Right.
We are the mercy of
Yes.
we are the mercy of the system as it
Exactly.
stands.
So, and even when the subsidy was supposedly removed, I still suspect that we are paying subsidy.
Well,
I suspect. I don't have any fact
the
to
government
back
is
it up.
saying that we're not
Because
paying
if
it.
you look at the indices, you know that we can't be buying at 600, 700, 800.
But if it was fully deregulated, how much do you think we should have been buying it by now?
I am sure by now we should be looking at about 1,200 per litre. If it was fully deregulated. Okay. That's just your thoughts, That's
personal.
my thoughts.
Okay, all right. Well then, let's get on to the WhatsApp. But keep in mind that you can join the conversation. Let us also know where it is biting you. In fact, I asked a question this morning. It was a very, very serious question, and the question was, how did you get to work? Because I know how I got to work. It wasn't a very, very funny experience. But yes, I'm here because I have to, I need to, and I take joy in addressing you and bringing what's going on in Nigeria to your eardrums as well as to your visuals. But then you can hit the numbers right now, 0907 353 0044, and join the conversation, or 0907 0908 766 8888. Okay, I just got a signal that I'm being too fast with the numbers, so I'll give it again. 0907 353 0044 or 0908 766 8888. Taking this call now. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
This is Mr. Abdul
All right, Mr.
from
Abdul
Suleja.
from Suleja. Feels good, from Niger State. All right, let's have your take.
How's work?
Very well, thank you. Let's have your take.
What is going on? What's going on now?
All right, Mr.
I don't
Abdul.
know.
Okay, you're asking the question, a rhetorical. Okay,
Yeah,
what's
what's
going
going
on?
on?
Go ahead.
Where's our government? What are they doing? Everything is getting out of hand. No light, security, economy. What is going on? What is going on? Where are we going from here? Where are we going? We don't really know. We don't really know.
Right, Mr. Abdul.
We're
I
just
get that.
praying. We're just praying.
Okay. We're just Mr. Abdul right there says, what's going on? Those salient questions. What is going on? Where are we going? Is the same exact question that many of us are still asking, and we are hoping to get some answers to that question. But just before I take your call, let's quickly take this voice message right now.
Mr. Abdul, good morning. Once again, my name is Honorable Edward. I appreciate I just extend my greetings to him. You see, what is happening in Nigeria, their country, I think in most cases we are the problem to ourselves. I just mentioned something, the close relationship with the presidency and the governors. I think it's a vital point, because you see these governors working as if they are not even elected, as if the state is their supermarket, as if there's nobody who can talk. He's mentioned something that's very important there. Let me tell you something. They don't have anything governance. Their own is politics from the beginning to the end. So how can we come together and work as a team to solve our problem? The money given to them justify how much Mr. President has interest. The money for the fuel subsidy is just a very good percentage of that money is going to state. What is happening to our state? Mostly we are the problem to ourselves. Okay, for instance, the ministers in this cabinet. Imagine what the Minister of Power says with the current situation. Instead of him to come out and appeal to Nigeria to be calm, that we work on the man said there will be total blackout, as if he owns this country, as if that man should be sacked, that man should be resigned. Look at what Jam. You see the score. That thing too has to be investigated. I think indirectly they are implementing the policies of 18 years. If you look at the result is too poor. So maybe there's a communication between the Minister of Education and the Jam, the man in charge of Jam. I think that's what is happening. If they need this result must be investigated. I think they are trying to frustrate Nigerians who are trying to school. That's what I'm saying. I am not accusing them, but we need to investigate stuff. So if you have a responsibility, please work for Nigeria. How Nigeria is hard. Let's come together and solve our problem. Thank you. God bless.
All right, if we have responsibilities right there, let us come together and not wait just to get out of the woods, because we also have a responsibility as Nigerians to fix this situation. Taking yet another call right now. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning to you.
Yes.
Dr. Udwak.
Good morning, please. Is this Omotayo?
Yes, exactly. This is Omotayo reaching you from Galakma this morning.
All right, Omotayo, let's go straight to it.
Yes, I greet your guests right there in the studio. Dr. Udwak, I don't know if you have even noticed that despite all this increase in price and difficulties in access to transportation and power and every other thing that is difficult for Nigerians currently, I also know that none of these private agencies and even government agencies yet have implemented an increase in price to cushion the effect of these difficulties. Now, secondly, it is as if our calling out the government, those occupying certain positions, and we are clearly not seeing them perform at all. Our calling them out to resign is even making them stronger by the day. If you realize, you discover that they actually get to politicize our calling them out and say, well, they are whalers from other parties who are not opportunity to be in power. It's not what we are saying. We can evidently see this thing. Nigerians are feeling the pain and the brunt of this wrong policies passed every single day. Nobody's being punished, nobody's held accountable, nobody's called to book for not performing in the area that we are trying to perform by the government. So I don't know what's really the problem. I think it's high time we don't only call them out, we need to stand up and take action, for God's sake. Thank you so much.
Stand up and take action, and you've said that on Matire, and that is some very strong points. Yes, we already know what went down with the Ganduje. Ganduje is at it as it stands. The Ganduje keeps saying that it's all about the NNPP, the New Nigeria People's Party, that it's all about the 2027 agenda and all of that. I really wish that we would stop the politicizing and begin to see that this entity called Nigeria is not just a one-man show, right? There's a lot that has been said, but Mr. Agaba, time is not on my side. I really wish that we can, exhaust this. But yes, he mentioned something, Honorable Edwards mentioned something about the education sector as well and all of that. It just goes to the place of where Nigerians are somewhat at a place of being beggy. It's just the begginess, and it's the talk about suffering and smiling seems to be the order of the day. Well, there are some talks about whether or not the Minister of Power will be relieved of his position. Well, that's not a fact just yet, as we would wait to hear from a concrete, source in that regard, to knowing where we are in that regard, in that aspect, But for now, I'd like to say, Mr. Agada, if there is just one line sentence, the calls are coming in, but coming in lately now, just one line so that we could just call it a close in maybe 30 seconds if possible.
Yeah, number one, I would like to appeal to those in government that a society where all of us are doing okay is better than a society where few are doing very okay, while a lot are languishing in poverty.
I think that's it.
And to the people, I want to say that this is our country. Nobody will come and fix it for us. It is us who will fix this country. And it is high time we stood up, put our feet down, and ask for the best for us. We deserve to be on the table, not under the table, feasting on crumbs.
Not under the table, feasting on crumbs right there. And that is coming from Mr. Agaba Wilson right there. And yes, he has given us his take on the matter. And you've also brought your conversation in. Tekembi Hundu, if I'm not mistaken, I see your message right there. He says, keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Right. And we hope that all of these that we have mentioned will indeed come to fruition. I want to say a big thank you to you. You're a business, financial consultant, and public affairs analyst. And I'm hoping that fellow, please calm down, so that Mr. Agaba can always make it, to the studio. Thank you for your time, though. We'll make do with the phone calls again. Oh my goodness! Which, of course, as well. Thank God that even the telecoms are coming out saying they want to increase the tariff. It's really sad. It's really sad. But thank you to each and every one of us for joining the conversation. And yes, tomorrow is yet another time as we bring yet another topical issue right here on this platform. My name is Udwak Daniel.